Hey guys, Mr. James here, and I am very excited with what I'm going to be talking about today and for the next few weeks. You've already been introduced as a whole to the entire country in regards to its locations and capitals and two-letter postal abbreviations. So what I'm going to do is go into each region and talk specifically, and we're going to practice and practice and practice, because here's how I feel. As a United States citizen, I should be able to, without using Google, without asking anyone, mail a letter to a correct state and be able to do so with confidence and not having to depend on anyone else. And so we're going to practice this and practice this and practice this and get really good in the next couple of weeks. So without further ado, what we have is you are going to get presented with, in this region, 9 states' names, locations, two-letter postal abbreviation, and the state's nickname to add some little flavor to the conversation. You are going to then come up with a one-pager on your own piece of paper here. And on that one-pager, what you're going to include is a title, 1 or 2 pictures of symbols that represent this region, and one interesting fact about these states. And I would also include what you're supposed to know: the list of names, states, abbreviations, and capitals somehow on this. Okay? You're going to post and submit and email this one pager. Once it's complete, take a picture. It can be digital. I know a lot of you guys have digital talents, much like Mr. James, which will be on display in this presentation. Excited for you to see that. And then also, if you include color and neatness, you know that Mr. James loves that and it's appreciated. So let's go ahead and get started. On the next slide, all right, something I want to show you here, I'm going to pull my arrow up, is if you look at this region in this 9 states and it's on the east side by the Atlantic Ocean, you notice that we kind of can go down this way. That's how we're going to learn the states in this area. Is we're just going to start right here in Maine, and we're going to swoop on down, and we'll end right here with New Jersey. And you'll see as the presentation goes along. So let's start with Maine. And Maine's capital is Augusta, which is right here. Its two-letter abbreviation is ME, and then it's also known as the Pine Tree State. I don't know about you, but pine trees, in my experience, are very prickly and they smell funny, kind of like grandma's. So there you go with Maine. Next slide. Now we go to New Hampshire. All right. So New Hampshire's capital is Concord, which is located right here. Now I'm going to explain a rule really fast. Is anytime it comes to two-letter abbreviations and a state has 2 words like this, New Hampshire, it's going to have the first letter of those words as its 2-letter abbreviation. So there's a little map version of New Hampshire, and it's known as the Granite State. Granite is a very peculiar rock formation. It's very sturdy. It's used in countertops or other types of construction, statues, and also sculptures. So there you go. So the next state is Vermont. And before I show you any information, how I remember Vermont from any other state is, see this V right here? See how Vermont's kind of shaped like a V? That's how I remember that. All right, its capital is Montpelier. And so how I remember that is M-O-N-T right here and M-O-N-T right here. So that helps me remember the capital. Its 2-letter abbreviation is VT, and it's known as the Green Mountain State. And with us being and living in Kansas, when we say skiing, lots of people think Colorado. Well, on the East Coast, when you say skiing, lots of people think Vermont. So lots of mountains, and you can even look on this little map right here and see all the triangles. Tons and tons and tons of mountains. All right, Massachusetts. Well, its capital is Boston, and home of the Patriots, New England Patriots. Its abbreviation is MA, and it is known as the Bay State. Oh, look at Bay. Queen Bay? Hey, Bay. Oh, not that Bay? What? Seriously? Oh, this bay right here. Oh, okay. Alright, I see. An actual bay with like water because of the Massachusetts Bay. Okay, I get it. Alright. Anyways, I prefer Beyonce, but if you must. Next line. Rhode Island. So what do we know about Rhode Island? It is a two-word state name. Providence, capital, R-I, and it is the ocean state. And I wonder why. Probably because it's pretty close to the ocean. Like, oh no guys, here comes the ocean. It's rising. Hope you can swim. And now we have Connecticut. So Connecticut, its capital is Hartford. Its abbreviation is CT, and it's known as the Constitution State. Now, actually, it was not the first state to recognize or sign the Constitution. That was Delaware. But it's known as the Constitution State because historians say that a lot of the ideas that we have in our Constitution came from the state of Connecticut with how they ran their government back in the colony days. New York. So, New York's capital is Albany and not New York City. A lot of people probably think that it is a two-word state. So, NY. And it is known as the Empire State. Now, you probably immediately think about this big tall building right here. It is part of that name, but the name was there first. And George Washington used to say back in the day that New York was the seat of the empire. And actually, our original nation's capital was in New York City and not in Washington, D.C. as it is today. So, and it's just known for being a place where it was popular. There was a lot of big things happening. So, there you go. Pennsylvania. Kind of like New York, a lot of people probably think like Philadelphia or Pittsburgh is the capital of Pennsylvania. It's actually Harrisburg. And PA is the abbreviation, not PE. And it is known as the Keystone State. Now, what that means is if you look at this graphic right here and you see these little stones and then you see this middle stone, which is also known as the keystone because it holds it all together. Well, Pennsylvania is known as a Keystone State because it has been in the center piece of lots of things and documents that have formed our country, like the Declaration of Independence, written by Thomas Jefferson, or the Constitution, which we just talked about, or the Gettysburg Address, which we will talk about, given by Abraham Lincoln. So, Keystone State. And last but not least, we have New Jersey. Trenton is the capital of New Jersey. NJ is the abbreviation, and it is the Garden State. Now, you say, Mr. James, why is it the Garden State? Well, it's known as the Garden State because back in the days, it was a middle colony, and there was lots of things grown there, and people would go and get their items and trade for their items. And so someone and people used to say, it's like going to the garden when you visit New Jersey. So it is the Garden State. So on this last slide is Mr. James showing off a little bit and reviewing. I'm not going to do the nicknames. I'll just do the abbreviations, capitals, and locations. So we have Maine, and its capital is Augusta, and its abbreviation is ME. We have New Hampshire, and New Hampshire's capital is Concord. Its abbreviation is NH. We have Vermont. Its capital is Montpelier, and its abbreviation is VT. We have Massachusetts. Its capital is Boston. Its capital is Boston, and its abbreviation is MA. We have Rhode Island, and Rhode Island, its capital is Providence, and its abbreviation is RI. We have Connecticut. Connecticut's capital is Hartford, and its abbreviation is CT. We have New York. Its capital is Albany. Its abbreviation is NY. And then we have Pennsylvania. Its capital is Harrisburg. Its abbreviation is PA. And then we have New Jersey. Its capital is Trenton, and its abbreviation is NJ. So feel free to applaud me. Okay, I had no notes or anything at all, just my sweet Wilbur hoodie. All right, practice your states. Guys, have a good one.